Hey everybody, and welcome to Training Thursday. For some of you guys who haven't seen me here before, this happens every week on a Thursday here in the Naturpreneur Hub. And if you are seeing this on YouTube or somewhere else, don't forget to hit subscribe because we have these conversations every single week for the Naturpreneur community. That's you guys who are practitioners in business. And today we are having a conversation about what does taking action really look like. And if you are just joining the conversation, please say hello in the chat box and I'll answer any questions that you currently have around what taking action really looks like. So as you might notice, if you are new to the Training Thursdays, or if you have been here before, you might notice the background is totally different. What's all that about? So I am currently away. I'm actually on holidays for my wedding anniversary. And this is what action truly looks like. You make a commitment to the things that are important to you and you take the action required. And right now, I've made a commitment to you guys on Training Thursday, and so you guys get my attention for the next half hour, which is super cool. So if you are just joining us, please say hello. I would love to speak to you, answer any questions you have around taking action. All right. So the cool thing is, if you have just joined our community, the amazing things that we have here are all about getting other bits and pieces of your business up and running, particularly outside of your one-on-one consultations, or even running your one-on-one consultations better so that you can live the life that you want. And this is the life that I want. I want to be able to travel. I want to be able to do the things that are important to me whilst still being able to run my business, because it's important to me as well. Hey Daisy, hey Stephen, hey Caroline. I'm loving Stephen Judge. If you haven't followed him, he's an amazing practitioner, and he has an incredible practice, and I love looking at his Instagram feed. It's super cool, and he's also a guitar player. Now, this is the cool thing about us and being naturepreneurs is we can bring our uniqueness to our practice. My uniqueness is that I love being a traveler. I have a gypsy element to me, and I love being able to run my practice, and I do still see clients, and I love being able to help other practitioners from wherever I happen to be in the world. And I happen to be away on holidays at the moment, so I'm bringing it to you from here. And I mean, how many of us actually go and do what it takes to bring your Yeti microphone away on holidays with you? I also run a podcast, and so that's why I've got the special audio. Hey, Caroline, nice to see you as well. So the amazing thing is, this is what action taking looks like. Action taking isn't perfect. I've taught so many of you guys over the past 6 months, whether you have been part of the Naturpreneur scavenger hunt experience, if you've been part of the Naturpreneur planning session, or you may have been part of the Naturpreneur e-course for practitioners. And if you have done those things, you know what it takes to take action to get the learning done, right? And we are so good at learning as practitioners. It's an entirely different thing to apply that learning and take action on that learning. And so many of you guys who have joined in either the scavenger hunt or the e-course for Praccies or the planning session have done all this wonderful planning, and then crickets. You're back to where you were before, but the planning happened. But then what's the next step? How do you take the action that you need to get the traction in your business to live the lifestyle that you want? And that's what it's all about, really. If we can take care of ourselves, we can take care of so many other people, either through our education that we're teaching our clients about, or seeing clients in general. We are able to look after ourselves, and that's what it's all about. But how do you take the action to do all of those things? So that's what I'm going to talk about today. If you've got any questions, please pop them in the section, in the question section below. All right. So what does action taking look like? Action taking looks like doing the things that you need to do, that you said you would do, in the time that you said you would do it, or recommitting and moving forward. This means that you are holding yourself accountable in your own solo practitioner business. Now, this is a really different environment for so many of us because we're used to being in an employee situation where a boss will tell us what to do and we do it by the time we're told to. But in this case, we're generally the boss and we can weasel our way out of that. So what comes up for you guys who are on the call at the moment, what comes up for you guys when we talk about the action that you need to take? What are some of the things, the little like hurdles that come up? Because again, many of you guys did the planning session, many of you guys did the scav hunt and didn't quite finish. Maybe you did the planning session and just listened to it. Maybe you did the e-course for Praccies and thought, that's a nice idea. What's the little hurdle? What does the little voice in your head say when you need to take the action? What does the voice in your head say when you need to take the action? For me, when I've created things in the past and I haven't quite followed through with it, it's because I feel like I've got all of the information and, oh, it's been done before. You know, oh, it's been done before. Some other practitioner's done it and maybe I can't do it. Maybe it is, oh, but I don't have the money for that at the moment. What's another one? And I hear this one all the time. I don't have the time to do that at the moment. What's another one? I don't have the tech skills to do it at the moment. Stephen says, doubt and overthinking. Yeah, what does the overthinking actually sound like though, right? What does it sound like? Is your flavor of overthinking, oh my goodness, what if it fails? Is your flavor of overthinking, but there isn't enough time, there isn't enough people who would want that, there isn't enough, there's a version of that, or I'm not enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not thin enough, I couldn't possibly get on camera, I'm not professional enough, I don't have enough experience, I've got too much experience, I've been in the business too long, I haven't been in the business long enough. What's your version of overthinking? And when you listen to that, what does it have you do that stops the action? What does it have you do that stops the action? So what I want you to do when you're listening to this is write down those things, write them down, like your version of it. I want you to write at least 5 of those things that come into your head. And if you're listening, I can see many of you are listening and not typing. What's your version of it? Because honestly, you're not alone. I hear this with, you know, we've got the Naturopreneur Club open at the moment. And if you want to join that, come along. It's a game changer. We do 6 months of work on all of this stuff. And the internal dialogue that happens in there isn't just going on for you. It goes on for every single practitioner, every single business owner, and every single human. Because you're human, you have a dialogue going on in your head that you can choose to listen to or not to listen to. And at this point in time, when action is needed, when you've got all the plans in the world and you've got all these great ideas and you are like ready to go, and then you get up in the morning, you go, I'm going to do that tomorrow. And you get up in the morning and you go, oh, I need to put the kettle on and I need a cup of tea and maybe I should put some incense on. Maybe I should do my yoga and meditation before I start my thing. And then maybe I've run out of all the willpower in the world and I'll do it tomorrow. It's in those moments when that dialogue's going on that you're completely human, and that the thing that you were here that sparked with you, that idea that sparked with you, that e-course that's with you right now in the back of your shoulder waiting for you to take action on it. When that marketing strategy that we talked about in the planning webinar, when that's coming through for you and it's just sitting there and you're going, no, I've got to go and do the dishes and I've got to go and do this and I've got to, I'm on holidays now. I can't possibly do anything else. The kids are on holidays. Oh, it's Christmas. Like, what is happening and what's your version of that? And I want you to start with 5 of them and I want you to write them down. Daisy, planning to get too much in a day, so I end up feeling guilty for not achieving it, and then it starts a bit of a storm of a spiral that goes down. I hear you. I've been there, totally been there. And when we get so overwhelmed, you know, especially you guys who have done the e-course for practitioners, when we get so overwhelmed, when we've got like these big plans. I'm like, okay, I've got the plan on what I need to do for it. I've got all of the content that I've got to create for it. I've got to create those videos, and then I've got the tech side of things, and then I've got, and you write them all down, and you want to achieve them in one day. Yeah, it can become a bit much, and because it's so much, you just don't know where to start. So when you write down those 5 things, what gets in the way? Maybe for you it's time. Maybe for you it's feeling guilty. Maybe for you it's fear of failure. Maybe for you it is just like Stephen is expressing. Maybe it's fear of humiliating myself for not being perfect. Oh my goodness, so many of us are like that. My version of that is fear of failure. And that going back to times in your life where you haven't had something perfect and that feeling you got from it. Yeah, totally. And it's a real visceral thing that comes up to not take action. Oh, I can't possibly do that because the lighting's not perfect. Like, look at me right now. I got this thing here and I'm literally different, over here in the background, I've got, yes, if you didn't notice it before, I'm bringing your attention to my clothes that I've left out. Absolutely, there is fears of imperfection for everybody, even for me, becoming completely visible here talking to you guys. So I totally hear you on this, and it's completely you're not alone, and I want you to know that right now. Francesca mentions which projects to focus on because it can be completely overwhelming. Money, like, will it give me a return on investment? Will it actually be a winner of an idea? Totally hear you on that one. I bet there's a couple of people out there who feel the same way. What will the world think of these deeply personal things I've shared, especially for us who are becoming visible, vulnerable, and authentic, and it is the world we live in now. What are the judgments that other people are going to make on me? Totally hear you on that. Will it go the distance? All of those things, totally hear you. And the judgment piece on whether, Fossum's going to get us, or the medical industry is going to get us, or somebody else is going to get us. Totally hear you. And for you guys who are wrestling with this at the moment, and you are in those moments of inaction, the thing I want to take you back to is the reason that this idea danced with you in the first place is because you cared enough about somebody else that you wanted to create something that would help them. And the inaction that you have isn't just going to affect you, it's going to affect all the downline people that have the possibility that this will change their life, the thing that you're creating. And the planning that you're doing for your business, that inaction is not just going to affect you, it's going to affect your family or your partner, because those things that you are never created, it's like cutting that completely off. All of those possibilities that you can think of in your head that are negative, you have just the same amount of possibilities on the flip side of that coin that are positive, and you're cutting all of that off by completely staying in inaction. And it's all completely human. Now, the thing about taking action is when we listen to that in our heads and when we are by ourselves, it is so much easier just to listen to that. When we have a partner who isn't in our industry and doesn't understand quite what that's like, or when we have people around us who we want to have conversations with about the thing that we're trying to create in the world, and they have no idea about what it's like to run a business or become visible, and we don't get the feedback that we need from that, it can be nearly impossible to take the action. I have totally been there, and it is disheartening, and it is all of those things. And it's so hard to see outside what those negative possibilities are. It's so hard to see the positive possibilities because they aren't certain, obviously. They haven't existed yet. So we haven't seen the version of that yet. So we can kind of wheedle our way out of it. So my number one tip for taking action and what taking action looks like is getting people around you that hear you and have the same kind of viewpoints as you to give you some decent feedback on what's going on in your head to get you to take the action. So up-leveling your business buddies is one of the biggest and most game-changing things to get you to take action. Now, I'm super lucky because my husband, who was in corporate, and I remember the days trying to have conversations with him after I have typed away until midnight, creating that super amazing landing page on my website to really help somebody in a different way than I've never done before, to learn that tech stuff behind the scenes. And sometimes that's what it takes. It takes staying up late. Yeah, for short periods of time. I'm not saying that this stuff goes on forever, that you're plugging away for 7 years, but for short bursts, we do have to take the time to do it. And it does take us away from possibly our kids, possibly our weekend away with our best friend. But it is worth it in the end, because the people you're here to help can hear you and can have the opportunity to engage with you or the thing that you're creating, especially for them, to move them forward as well as you in your personal life. So sometimes it takes staying up late. Sometimes it takes the pushback because somebody doesn't understand. But one of those things that it takes as well is surrounding yourself with people that do understand. And so surrounding yourself with business buddies is hugely important. It's a game changer. And when my husband leapt from the corporate ladder to run his own business, the conversations that we were able to have changed my life. But that one where I was sitting up until midnight trying to do the back end of my website, and I was plugging away, kids went to bed, and I was so in the zone, and then it worked. It was like the page was live and it had a PayPal button, and I could share it with people, and it was really pretty, and it worked. And I shared it with him, and I was so excited after hours and hours of work. And he went, "Oh yeah, I used to do the back end of that kind of stuff all the time." That is gut-wrenching, and it stops your action moving forward, doesn't it? It stops. You're like, oh, I suppose it wasn't that good enough. It wasn't that great. But when now I talk to my business besties, it's a game changer. I love talking to my business besties about stuff like that. Oh, I did this amazing funnel, or I've created this back end of autoresponders, or and in those moments where it really sucks, when it's really tough and you can't figure out something, or something broke, or something came out accidentally, that is the time that you need people around you that are business buddies as well. Daisy says, oh yeah, cool. So the other thing around it is having business buddies, right? So if you don't have any business buddies, find them. Find them here on the hub. Come and join the club. We've got 120 amazing people over there, and it's growing all the time. We take in 2 intakes a year, but each round has game-changing conversations. They have a whole new relationship with a whole bunch of practitioners on the same wavelength, and be able to talk about those really tough times and be able to totally celebrate when something actually works and somebody actually gets it. So taking action is about having people around you that understand. Taking action looks like doing stuff that you wouldn't usually do, and other people not poo-hooing you for it. Now, my hubby now understands. So I'm sitting here on holidays doing what it takes. And those big buts that we were talking about before, but I'm on holidays, but my kids aren't going to school yet, it takes time and effort to do it. And to be able to do that, you have to commit to it in a way that other people in your life probably don't. And so being surrounded by people who are committed to the same kind of thing for their future, for their what it looks like in their life, game changer. Cool, awesome. So what else does it take to take action? Now, you guys all have plans, especially the people who've done the planning session, especially the people who've done the NatBizScav Hunt, especially the people who've done e-course for Praccies. Right? You've got plans. And taking the action looks like being held accountable for it. Because you can have that plan and you can sneakily pop it into that little group of stuff that you've done for all the other courses that you haven't quite finished. And trust me, I used to be there. I used to go to all of the conferences. I used to go to all of the things, and I would collect all of the information and I would put it in the knowledge base. And then I would just keep seeing people one-on-one, doing the same thing I always did and getting the same results I always had. And then in the back of my mind going, I did really think that this was a really good idea. And then the buts start. So being held accountable for all of that incredible stuff that you have, incredible information that you have that you want to share, this new way of sharing it. You might want to write a book, you might want to get out that e-course, you might want to create a package or something else. Being held accountable is hugely important. So surrounding yourself with people who are like-minded to you that can hold you accountable, even if it's one accountability partner, it's going to be a game changer for you. And so what I really want you to think about is who is holding you accountable. Now, back in the day, I started to realize that I was sneaking my way out of stuff. And I've spoken on another video all about boss time and employee time, and the fact that we are actually both our boss and our employee. And I used to sneak my way out of stuff. I would go, okay, this year I'm going to write an e-course, I'm going to create a book, I'm going to do some other thing, and then I wouldn't tell anybody. And if you don't tell anybody, it's not real, right? And I've seen some amazing practitioners who did do the e-course for Praccies, who are online, who have made themselves externally accountable. You might not have an accountability partner, but you might have made yourself externally accountable. So you've told the public that your course is coming. You have sold somebody on the idea that your retreat is coming. They might have even bought a ticket to your retreat, even though you haven't created it in completion yet. This idea is out there because you've held yourself externally accountable. That's the cool thing about coming to NatX. We've got the opportunity to talk to other people, and they can hold you at your highest potential for the amazing stuff that you're creating. And so having that external accountability is a game changer. So what does external accountability look like for you? Is it having a tribe of people around you, like here in the hub, the club, or NatX? Is it voicing online that you are about to create an e-course and even asking people what they would like to see in your e-course? Maybe it is talking to your partner, life partner, business partner, accountability buddy about what it looks like. But that accountability, it's way too easy to sneak your way out of it yourself. So accountability. So you've got to have people around you, and you've got to have accountability, and you've got to have weird noises in the background, because that's how it works. So taking action means doing stuff even when there's weird noises in the background, doing stuff and showing up for things even when it's uncomfortable, because this is the other thing. Things get uncomfortable when you want to change. Taking action looks like your comfort zone being, let me see, where have we got the video? Okay, your comfort zone being here, right? Because you want to create a change, and creating a change means you bump up against your comfort zone, because you're bumping up against what is known and what has happened in the past. If you want your comfort zone to go out here, then you're really bumping up, and there is going to be jiggles. And this is the interesting thing. Those jiggles come from all those stories that we talked about at the beginning, those 5 things. Those jiggles come from all our stories from the past. Those jiggles come from bad memories. Those jiggles come from other people not doing it the way that you're doing it, because it's some new, unique way of doing it. But it is bumping up against the way you've always done things will give you the same result. If you change the way you're doing things, you are going to bump up against an expansion and a growth. And when that happens, there will be jiggles. And when there are jiggles, it's okay. You're just bumping up the edges of your comfort zone to expand and grow. In those moments, it is super easy to stop. So you take the action, and then weird stuff like that random sound happens. And you're like, should I press the button and just delete the whole thing? And cue the random sound again. And it's bumping up against that jiggle. And then eventually all those random sounds and all those random things start to settle down. But in that jiggle, it can be the best and most important time to cave. So if you haven't got people around you that look after you and that are resonating with you, and you're having these conversations with, if you haven't got someone you've held yourself accountable to growing to that new space, it's super easy to cave and not do it. And so for all you people who are making those changes, it's totally okay and totally human, and it's exactly what's happening. But if you don't have people around you, it's going to be so much harder to do it yourself. If you don't have a support system if you don't have accountability to hold you to your fullest potential, that you've said, yes, I'm doing this, this is the new me, then people can hold you there to the new you rather than you shrinking back and contracting in a way that doesn't take action, that hides behind the thing that we pretended to say that we wanted to do, but we're not really going to do in the first place. And there's a level of jiggles that comes with contraction. Now, contraction can happen to anybody at any time, and it's completely human. It's just whether that contraction is helpful, where you might be restoring yourself after adrenal fatigue, or if it's hindering. So it holds you back from actually creating the life that you want to lead, the change that you want to create for yourself or your clients. And that contraction, we can sometimes lie to ourselves, again, if we're not surrounded by people who are like-minded to us and we can have these conversations. That contraction can hold you in a space that the way we used to do the things and we keep our comfort zone nice and steady gets back to where it was before, and we have the same results we've always had because we're doing the same stuff we always have. So action looks like bumping up against the jiggles and being there anyway. Action looks like having people around you that can hold you to that fullest potential. Action looks like holding yourself accountable either by publicly saying it or having somebody else hold you accountable to it. Action looks like doing the things that you don't want to do and not having an excuse for not doing them. So Stephen says, wow, that's resonant. Right before this video, I posted in a local group where my practice is asking if any businesses or venues would be interested in free talks or workshops. I love it. This is the action, right? Taking the action looks like, this is totally uncomfortable. I can't believe I'm writing this. I can't believe I'm posting. I can't believe I said yes to that. Action looks like saying yes and then figuring it out on the way down, because everything is figure outable. Action looks like saying yes. And if you are somebody who feels like they can't say yes, imagine being in a whole room of 120 other practitioners who are all saying yes, because you do want something different for your life. And that's what NatX is, just in case you missed it. So yes, saying yes. Action is saying yes, even when you your stories want you to say no. Now, stories and intuition are two different things. Sometimes your intuition about things, you know, going down a deserted tunnel on the side of, you know, one of the deserted train stations at, say, midnight, your intuition's going no, right? That's a whole different thing to the moment that you have the opportunity to say, yes, I'm a practitioner and I could help. Yes, I am a practitioner full of knowledge and I would love to share that in this educational platform. It's very different to the no that you get that is, no, we want to stay small. No, you don't want to grow. No, stay in your comfort zone. We don't, what happens? We don't know what's on the outside of our comfort zone because we've never been there before, and that'll be too jiggly. So we'll just say no. That's a really different no to the no that you get in that, you know, deserted train station style, right? So making sure that you say yes and then figuring out a way, that's what action looks like. Now, here, I've said yes to showing up every Thursday for Training Thursday. No matter what it takes, I say yes. And even though sometimes I get a no, even though sometimes I'm like, well, I'm on holidays. Maybe it's a no. Oh, my kids are here. Maybe it's a no. Oh, you know, I can't be professional enough. I don't have a all of that stuff comes up for me too. And the same as it does for you guys. But action gets traction. Now, you know, the Naturopreneur Hub grew 2/3 last year because we had action. We were all taking action in the NatBiz co-fund. We were doing what it takes to do those things because we were surrounded by like-minded people in the group. Now, a new level version of that is the Naturopreneur Club. And if you have had a look at the Naturopreneur Club, it is open. It's only open for another 10 days. And the NatX, it's only got tickets for another 7 days. So if not before then, because there's like less than 20 tickets left. So you've got to get in there and do what it takes. Now, this is the bit, right? Taking action. In that moment, you're like, no, I can't come. No, it's too far away. No, costs too much money. No, you know, and that isn't your intuitive guidance. It's your other little gremlin sitting on your shoulder. But those, and for some of you, it's your intuitive guidance. I honor that. But for those of you who have that other stuff in the background where you're going, no, I can't possibly take that action, we just talked about it. It's saying yes, pressing the button, and then taking the leap and figuring it out. Now, the first time that I went to a conference, and it was for my professional development as a business owner, I went to an amazing conference, and it was over in, where was it at the time? It was over in Thailand, and it was huge. It resonated with me. It was the types of people, entrepreneurs I wanted to meet. It was in an environment that I was really excited about. It resonated so much that I got on the phone to the people who were organizing the conference and it was by interview only. And I was like, okay. And then they didn't tell you how much it was. And I think it was about $2,500 US at the time at the end of the interview. And my heart just went, like, where the hell am I going to get $2,500 US? Like, my credit card at the time could only do $2,000 Australian, and I don't know, I had half of that taken up already. And it's in those moments of, you know, you're on the right track, you know, you want to take action, you know, it's resonant with you. And it's in those moments that you just go, yes, can I pay half of that on credit card? And they're like, well, yes. And you figure out a way, like you figure out the way that you can get it done. And I was like, okay, I've paid half of it on credit card. And she said, okay, so here's the external link. It needs to be paid by the 7 days. And then I was like in action mode. I was doing what it took because I was so resonant with the thing I knew I really wanted to get. I was so resonant with the thing, and you guys are so resonant with your ideas. You might be so resonant with some of, you know, NatX, Nat Club, whatever it happens to be. You might be so resonant with it. You're so excited about creating that e-course or getting that stuff out, and you need to be able to say yes and then figure it out, because after that yes, there is all sorts of things on the other side. I figured that out in a way that I had never figured it out before. I spoke to my husband about it. I spoke to my clients about going on that trip. I spoke to my business besties about going on that trip. And that week I created my first package. And it was the first time I created a package, but I did all of the free training that was around at the time around packages. And there wasn't a lot when it came to practitioners. I did that free training and I set up a package. And I sold my first package, and that's what got me across the line. But I did what it took. And the first step was saying yes and then figuring it out. So if you are stuck with your action taking and you are busy in your mind saying no, say yes and then figure out what it takes. That's my biggest suggestion there. All right, cool. So say yes. And reach out. If you are trying to figure out, you know, how to come to NatX, reach out, figure it out. If you're trying to figure out how to get your e-course done, reach out to the people in the hub. Reach out to my free trainings everywhere. If you can't find all the free trainings, find out the experts that do. And this is my next tip about taking action. There's other little hurdles. You know, some of them are our internal stuff. Yep. And to get over those internal things, sometimes we need other experts in that field. Now, I have a kinesiologist I see regularly to work through limiting beliefs and mind stuff. I often watch EFT, emotional freedom technique, tapping. I watch and follow that online. I've got so many courses, personal development courses that I've been to. I've got coaches that I go and talk to when I need to, who have different tool sets to what I do. I find the people who have either the tools and the skills that I need, and I find the people that are so in alignment with me. That's my next step, about find the people that have either done it before, that you are just like, yes, I want that life, or have the exact skill set that you would like. So the limiting belief stuff, if that talk is getting in the way of your action, go and find somebody like that. Like, we've got Bernadette coming and talking about how to break through your limiting beliefs at NatX. We've got Denise Duffield-Thomas. If you haven't read her book, go and do that. If it's money that is your biggest issue, you should definitely go and read Like a Bitch, Get Rich Like a Bitch. It's an amazing, game-changing, actionable step-by-step book. And she is going to be at the Alex. She is sharing her wisdom on being a chillpreneur and busting through money mindset to actually run businesses that don't bring you burnout. So find the experts that you need to get you through it. Now, when I was creating my e-courses, for instance, I signed up for all sorts of things from America that I needed to sit up at 2 o'clock in the morning to watch because they had no idea of time zones and had no idea that the Southern Hemisphere existed. And I would stay up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I would do what it took to find out the exact information that I needed. And I looked at the e-courses that they were creating and I went, that's the type I need to create. And then I followed through and I went and found the information and I applied it. And I did what it took. Yes, it takes time. Yes, it takes energy. Sometimes it takes money, but you say yes and you figure it out. So that's the other interesting thing for you guys who have done e-courses or are planning or in the planning process of your e-course. There's the back end stuff. There's the tech stuff. You've got to be able to say yes and find the people that can do the tech stuff. Now, to pay for my first VA, I had to bring on a receptionist. So instead, because what I was doing was I was seeing clients one-on-one, and that didn't leave any time for anything else. Like I would see so many clients one-on-one, and outside of that, I had my business hat on, and of course, I'm a mum of 3. So at the time, I had to bring a receptionist on. I couldn't afford it at the time. There was no way. But when I paid that receptionist $20 an hour, the money I could create, $120 an hour I could create, was worth it because she was then able to process other people. She was able to do other things for me in a way that I was spending way too much time on. It would cost one sixth of what I was actually earning to get her on board, and she could then do 5 times as much as what I could do. And this is the thing, right? When you are stuck in the inaction and things end up on the bottom of your to-do list, you either need to go and find an expert to do it and outsource it to them. And sometimes that can be a little bit hard, especially in the beginning, or you need to find an expert and they need to teach you how to do it on exactly the thing that you need to know, like SEO or Facebook ads, or how to create a Facebook group, how to create a following, how to actually present online or offline if you want to become a speaker or you want to create those videos. Now, we've got all of the experts perfectly lined up for practitioners at NatX, but you can find these people in all the different places. You can go and have a look at their stuff, or you can go have a look at their YouTubes, and you can do what it takes to find that expert advice and then put it into action. Now, that's exactly what I did to create my first e-course. I found all the little bits and pieces. I went to the conferences, or I bought the courses that I needed for the exact information I needed to do. But it's not just collecting more information. It's either delegating it or offloading it to somebody else who is an expert in the field, and they will be able to do it 5 times as fast as you for 1/5 of the price of what it actually takes for people to come in to see you. Or you go and see them at NatX and you get all the information and run the workshop, because the workshops are completely actionable. So it's going and seeing and finding the right people for the right information for the right thing that you are creating. So it's hugely important to find the right things in that time. So Stephen's just said yes to a free workshop and a free talk. He's already practicing on Instagram, on his Instagram stories, how to present. But he might need some presenting skills. He might feel the need to be able to put a package together at the end of it. He might feel the need, like there might be other elements to when you say yes to something that you might need to find. And to be able to find those, you might come to NatX, you might go onto YouTube, but you do what it takes after you say the yes. So is everyone getting this? Are we cool? All right, so action has obstacles. To overcome those obstacles, you need people around you, like-minded people that get the business side of things as well as the practitioner side of things. You need to be held accountable. Either you say it out to the world, or you say it to your best buddy, or you say it to an accountability partner, or you hold yourself accountable without trying to sneak your way out of it, because then you're out of integrity and it doesn't work and you don't get that thing done. And all those people who are downstream of you creating that thing will never get helped, not in the way that you could create it. It is saying yes and then doing what it takes to figure it out. It is taking up time, energy, or money for a short period of time and understanding that it is the bigger vision that you're working towards. It is finding the right experts that have either been there before or are exactly doing the thing that you want. And lastly, it's remembering why you were doing it in the first place. And it's the crux of it, right? Why are you in inaction? Because you've forgotten why you're doing it in the first place. And your big why is very likely that you want to help people and you want to help yourself in some way. And helping yourself might look like you want more time back. Helping yourself might look like you want to be able to contribute to your household and be a part of paying the mortgage off, or being a part of creating that family holiday that you have. It might be to pay for your wedding. It might be, it could be, we're all human and we all have these amazing human lives and dreams. And we aren't immune as practitioners to wanting something for ourselves. Yes, we want it for our clients, absolutely. And the reason that we're creating the things that we're creating and we're taking the action we are is to help ourselves and help our clients in a way that we've never helped them before. Help them in a way that's possibly easier for them to get access to, cheaper for them to get access to than coming to see us. Like, there is all sorts of reasons that you're creating these things for you and your clients. But when you really connect back into your why, and for me, talking to you guys on my holiday, I really want to see this change for our profession. I see so many practitioners with the big buts, like the big, but behind that, they have so much potential. You guys have so much potential. There is so much inside you that is like gagging to get out. There's so much inside you that can create a much bigger impact than we are currently as practitioners. So much more. Like, we've got a tidal wave of stuff just holding itself up there, waiting to come through you guys. And I want to be there to celebrate with you guys when it does come through you. And to celebrate with you guys when those massive changes are happening for, Eddie over in Perth and his cancer. He has a huge tribe of people who are going through their cancer journeys, and him being able to step into the space of creating that e-course and then building on that and being able to work with oncologists and things, that is a game changer for the health of the planet and the people in it and the people in your communities. And it's a game changer for your families and what you want to create in your world too. So my why, as to why I'm on here talking to you guys, why I'm taking action, is huge for me. So you connecting with your why is massively important. You connecting with your why is more important than anything else, and it is the driver for action. And it is so easy to forget it. When you're sitting away trying to figure out HTML on the back end of some random thing that you half plugged into your website and you're not quite sure what's happening, and you're in like the minutiae of the details, and all you want to do is throw that flipping computer across the room. But the reason that you're creating that tiny little bit of code, the reason that you're watching a YouTube video on how to create that, the reason that you are figuring out how to get your video or your PDF downloaded or any of those things, is because the ripple effect of what you're creating there, and when it finally comes out and when you finally share it with enough people that they then share it with others, is we are changing the planet. We're changing the health of humanity. Not just your little community, not just Australia and New Zealand. You're actually changing, and the ripple effect, you can't possibly comprehend what that person is going to say to another person, and that person's going to say to their kids, and that person's it's huge. But what it takes for you to do that is take action. You have to take that little action, those micro wins, to get to the macro win of you actually getting that out. So when you forget your why, you've got to be surrounded by people who remind you of your why. You got to be surrounded by people who can celebrate with you that it's their why as well. Because us as practitioners, I guarantee you, every one of us is in it to help. We are all here to help. Why are you a practitioner? Because I want to help people. That is absolutely the number one answer I get nearly every time. I wanted to help myself and I want to help people. And often it comes from you on your own health journey or somebody else's health journey, but it's here to help. And so when you're in those micro details and when you're stuck in those little moments, Don't forget your why. And one of the biggest things that we've got at NatX is to connect with that, to connect with your why. So my final little invitation to you guys is, if you aren't taking the action that you need, take the action that's required to come and join us at a next level version of the hub. And that next level version is the club, or it is NatX. And if you aren't coming to NatX or you can't make it this year, go over to the naturepreneurclub.com website and go and check out the club and see if it is for you, because we get to experience that for 5 whole months, not just 2 days at NatX, 5 whole months. And then we go on an immersion to Bali for 5 days. It's a free ticket to Bali, like a free ticket to Bali, because I'm so passionate about us doing this in a way that is sustainable, in a way that looks after us as well as the people that we care about. And I personally have been through burnout enough that I had to shut my doors and not take on new clients, and I refuse to have that as the ongoing scenario for our profession. So I build it into my courses that we go away, that we go and have an immersive trip away together in a way that we've never had it before. So again, if you haven't checked it out, naturepreneurclub.com, and you'll see the links to the Naturepreneur Club. Join us at the Naturepreneur Club. And if you haven't had a chance, like I said, there's only about 20 tickets left for NatX, and I don't want you to miss the opportunity. And again, I told you what it was like for me the first time I went to a conference, and I was like, where the hell am I going to get that from? Say yes and then figure it out. Say yes and then ask for expert advice. Say yes, do what it takes, because nothing's going to change if you don't change the way that you do things. I have loved this conversation today. Thank you guys so much for being in it. Thank you, Stephen, for letting me use you as a beautiful example. And I am completely moved by those people who I have seen on social media taking the action that is going to change the lives of the people that they are providing this help for. Rachel, I'm so sorry, Rach. I follow Rachel, a naturopath, over on Instagram, and your incredible post-it note sessions and how you've been engaging your audience with creating this gut program that you're creating, it's so inspiring, because it's not just helping that person that's in front of you, it's helping so many more people. And I have loved seeing it. If you are creating something yummy, please share it. I love following that. Every single time you guys take action and you share it, you are an inspiration and a leader for our profession. And even you guys taking the time to listen to these 20-minute vids every week, this is leadership in our profession. You're doing things differently and innovatively in a way that people generally aren't in our profession. You are looking at things differently for your business and how you are showing up for yourself and for that client that's in front of you. And it's taking things to a whole new level. And I really appreciate it. And I want to acknowledge every single one of you for it. So I'm off to enjoy a little bit more of my holiday, but thank you guys so much for listening. Take the action it requires, and the invitation is totally open to coming to NatX or joining us in the club. All right, I will see you guys on the next Training Thursday. See ya.